In the opening perek to Sefer Bamidbar, we have an account of the national census that took place on Rosh Chodesh Iyar 2449. We have a list of tribal representatives who were responsible to oversee this census. We also have the bulk of the perek that provides us with the census results, not including Shevet Levi. The perek ends with a set of 7 pasukim relating to the role of Shevet Levi. And in Bamidbar 153 we are told that the Levim were to camp Saviv LeMishkan Ha'idut, around the Mishkan, and that V'lo Yihiyeh Ketzef al Adat Bnei Yisrael. Ketzef translates as a form of divine anger, and a service reading of the pasuk thus far would suggest that were the Levim to decide to camp elsewhere, God's divine anger would be expressed against the Adat Bnei Israel. This reading is rejected by Rashi for obvious reasons, namely, why should the entire congregation be the recipient of God's wrath, God's anger, on account of the actions of Shevet Levi deciding not to camp around the Ohel Moed and the Mishkan? I shall return to this issue shortly. The conclusion of the pasuk, however, is V'shamru halaviim et mishmeret mishkan ha'idut. Temporarily ignoring the word mishmeret, we have a statement that says that it will be the Levim who will safeguard V'shamru the mishkan ha'idut. This is the translation offered by Rabbi Aryeh Kaplan. The Gutnik Chumash ignores the word mishmeret and translates that V'shamru halavim, the Levim alone, shall guard et mishmeret mishkan ha'idut, the mishkan ha'idut. In one way or the other, both translation options can be used to respond to the question raised earlier, namely, why should the Adat Bnei Israel suffer divine anger if the Levim decide to camp elsewhere? A reworking of the pasuk suggests the following, that the Levim were required to camp around the Mishkan Ha'idut, so that V'lo Yiyeh Kesef al Adat Bnei Israel, God's anger should not be directed at the entire congregation when and if a zar, an unauthorized individual, attempts to officiate or become involved in the activities of the Mishkan. The zar here refers to anyone from the 12 Shvatim and includes also those from Shevet Levi who perform the avoda restricted to the Kohanim. And accordingly, the role of the Levim was to prevent the divine anger, the Ketzef, that would result from their not protecting the Mishkan from the Zar. The fact is that the word Mishmeret has been included in Bamidbar 153, and the core translators provide us with various options. One, as noted earlier from the Kaplan translation, it shall be the Levim who will safeguard the Mishmeret, the trust of the Mishkan Ha'idut. As noted, the Gutnik translation ignores the word Mishmeret and offers that the Levim alone shall guard the Mishkan Ha'idut. The Art Scroll renders the word Mishmeret as the watch, while the Hirsch offers the charge of the Mishkan Ha'idut for the word Mishmeret, which demonstrates the problem of translators that offer translations that quickly become outdated and sometimes unintelligible as the language evolves with time. Germane to the SICHAH is the interpretation for the word Mishmeret that Rashi provides to Bamidbar Perek 3 Pasuk 7, where the Pasuk states V'shamru et Mishmarto. Shevet Levi was to take charge, share in his Aaron's duties, where Rashi states that the word Mishmeret suggests an appointment or an assignment to a task, not just here, but throughout the entire Chumash text. In the words of Rashi, Kol Minui, all appointments to a task, Karu Mishmeret B'chol HaMikra, is referred throughout the entire Tanakh with the word Mishmeret. And this brings us to question number 2. This commentary is misplaced, because if Mishmeret is understood as an appointment to an assigned task throughout the entire Chumash, then that commentary, that observation, should have been made in Bamidbar 153 the first time, at least in Sefer Bamidbar, where the word Mishmeret is used, rather than await until Bamidbar 3:7 to establish that the word Mishmeret is understood to imply an appointment